Hi, fifth grade. Today in math, we are doing lesson 3.5, and this is over simplifying and multiplying fractions. We had already learned how to multiply fractions before we went to Thanksgiving break. Yesterday, we worked with simplifying fractions. Remember, simplify means I'm going to divide. I figure out what I can divide the top and bottom by to make my numbers smaller, which makes them easier to work with. So really quick, before we jump into lesson 3.5, let's just practice multiplying fractions again because it has been a little while. Remember, when I have a fraction times a fraction, I just multiply across the top and across the bottom. So across the top, it's 3 times 5. What would that give me? 15. And across the bottom, I have 10 times 12, which would give me 120. So before Thanksgiving break, that is what we were doing. We were just multiplying the fraction. Now, instead of just multiplying, they also want us to simplify our answer to get this fraction as small as we possibly can. Now, we could multiply first, and then we could figure out what to divide these two numbers by. But our numbers are going to get pretty big because if you look at number 1 right here, look at our bottom numbers. We have a 20 and a 14. So you're not going to want to simplify that when you get all the way done. Instead, to make it a little bit easier on us, we can simplify it as we go. So I'll teach you how. Let's look at number 1. We have 7/20ths and 5/14ths. Let me see if I can zoom in for you here just a minute to make it easier to see. There you go, that will be easier. So 7/20ths and 5/14ths. To see if I can simplify, I'm going to look diagonally. So first let's look here at the 7 and the 14. Is there anything that you can think of that I could divide 7 and 14 by? So remember, use your strategy from yesterday. Look on your multiplication chart if you need to. What's something that will go into 7 and 14? Well, 7 will go into both of those. So now I have to do a little bit of work in my head. What is 7 divided by 7? 1. So I'm going to cross out my 7 and change him to a 1. What is 14 divided by 7? That would be a 2. So I'm going to cross out my 14 and change it to a 2. Look how much smaller those numbers have gotten already. That's going to make my math a lot easier when I go to multiply. So now that I've done that way, check the other way. I have 5 and 20. Is there anything that I can divide both 5 and 20 by? Yeah, 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. So cross out my 5, make him a 1. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Now I have super small numbers and the multiplication is really easy. 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 2 is 8. So my simplified answer would be 1/8. Much easier to do that than to have to multiply those really big numbers on the bottom and then try to figure out how to simplify. We'll just do it before we actually multiply. Let's try again on number 2. So remember, I'm going to check to see if I can simplify by looking diagonally across. So 2 and 21. I'm checking, is there anything that will go into 2 and 21? There's not. Nothing will go into 2 and 21, so I can't simplify that way. Let's check the other way. So 4 and 16. Is there anything that can go into both 4 and 16? Yeah, 4 will. So what is 4 divided by 4? 1. So I crossed out my 4, made him a 1. And then what is 16 divided by 4? That's 4. Now I'm going to multiply across. 2 times 1 is 2. 4 times 21. Might have to work that one out. So you can do 21 times 4. And that would be 84. So 2/84. Nice job. Let's try another one on number 3. So first I want to check to see if I can simplify looking diagonal. I have a 7 and a 10. Is there anything that will go into both 7 and 10? Nope, nothing will go into both of those, so check the other way. 9 and 10. Will anything go into both 9 and 10? No, I can't simplify this one. There's nothing that will divide into both, so we're just going to multiply across. 9 times 7 is 63, and 10 times 10 is 100. So even though that's a big fraction, it can't be simplified down because we already checked. I bet number 4 can be simplified down. Checking diagonally, 8 and 10. Is there anything that I can divide both 8 and 10 by to get them to be smaller? Yeah, 2. What is 8 divided by 2? 4. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, so we change those. Now let's check the other way. A 7 and a 49. Is there anything that can go evenly into 7 and 49? Yeah, 7. So 7 divided by 7 is 1, and 49 divided by 7 is 7. So remember crossing those out, changing them. Now we can multiply across. 4 times 1 is 4. 7 times 5 is 35. So 4 35ths. Number 5 and 6 are a little bit different. I see that I have a fraction times a big number. We can still simplify these a little bit to make our jobs easier. And when I'm simplifying a fraction times a big number, I want to look at the big number and the bottom and see if there's anything I can do there. So still looking diagonally right here. Big number and the bottom. So 35 and 5. Is there anything I could divide 35 and 5 by to get those to be a little smaller? 5. How many 5s will go into 5? 1. So cross that out, change it to a 1. How many 5s will go into 35? 7. Now I can multiply. Remember, when we have big numbers and fractions, we do big number times the top, bottom number stays the same. So what is 7 times 2? 14. Bottom number stays the same, so it's going to be a 1. We'll leave it like that for now. 14 over 1. 14 ones. All right, number 6. Let's see if we can simplify it. Remember, I'm going to check my big number and the bottom. Looking right there. Is there anything that can go into both 8 and 16? Yeah, 8 will. What's 8 divided by 8? 1. And 16 divided by 8 is 2. Now we can multiply. So big number times the top. 7 times 1 is 7. Bottom number stays the same. So what is it going to be? 2. I won't make you fix that today. You can just leave it there. 7 halves. If I wanted to fix it, remember I would need to divide it out, but you can just leave it today. All right, let's try one more. It's number 7. It's a word problem, but we got the same things going on here. In the Fireside Ski Shop, 11/28 of the ski caps have tassels. Of the caps with tassels, 7/11 are blue. What fraction of the caps in the shop are blue with tassels? I see 2 fractions there, and I see the word of. What does of tell me I'm supposed to do? Multiply 11/28 times 7/11. Now I have some big numbers there. Let's see if we can simplify first. So looking diagonally, let's go this way first. 7 and 28. Is there anything that I could divide 7 and 28 by to get them to be smaller numbers? Yeah, 7. What's 7 divided by 7? 1. And 28 divided by 7 is 4. All right, now let's check the other way. Ooh, we have 11 and 11. What can we divide both 11 and 11 by? How about 11? How many 11s will go into 11? 1. And how many 11s will go into 11? 1. Ooh, we got some really small numbers now. That'll make our multiplication easy. Across the top, 1 times 1 is 1. And across the bottom, 4 times 1 is 4. Now, the tricky part is finding the correct label. Remember from yesterday, that was kind of hard. We had to do a few words, not just one. So 1/4, probably better put blue caps with tassels. 1/4 of the caps are blue with tassels. So remember, we have to make sure our label makes sense. And in order for this one to make sense, we need to put a short phrase right here, not just one word. Okay? Remember, when you're trying to figure out if you can simplify or not, you can use your multiplication chart to look and see what could I divide both of those numbers by to simplify it before I multiply across. I have done a couple on your homework assignment for you as well to get you started, and do your very best. Good luck.